Hey guys, we're going to do another Chapter 5 video today. We're starting 5.7, which is a new section in our book if you follow along in that same book as us. And essential question is, how can I graph a system of inequalities? So we've graphed systems before, and we've graphed inequalities before, but we're going to mix the two together today. We're going to graph systems of inequalities, and they're kind of interesting. So to do this, I'm going to do a little demonstration first that you don't need to write in your notebook. You can kind of watch and follow along. And I'm going to switch screens because I think it'll be easier if I switch screens here. What we're going to look at is we're going to look at what happens when two systems or two inequalities are put together. Let me show you what I mean. So I've pre-made some graphs today. The first one on top up here is a graph of y is greater than 2/3 x minus 1. So it starts at -1, goes up 2/3, up 2/3, has a shaded region up above. Now I've done all the work, I've made the graph. Then I made a second graph of a totally different inequality. Y is less than or equal to -x plus 5. Starts up here at 5, has a -1 slope, shaded region down below. A system of these is when I would put these two graphs together on the same graph. So imagine, here's how you're going to imagine this. What I did is I photocopied these graphs onto some plastic paper, some transparencies, so that we can see what they would look like. So for instance, here's that first graph. If I lined up my plastic transparency here, you can see how there it is, just kind of a see-through version of this. Well, I'm going to take the second graph and put it on top of the first graph. So I'm going to take the second graph, which is this one down here, and I'm going to put it on top of the first graph up above. So here we go. Let's lay this together and look what happens. Ta-da! Okay, so it might not look totally great on your screen, a little weird with the plasticky paper. But do you see there's the first line and the second line. There's all the shading, but do you see the dark shaded region? Look right here in this space. It's the overlap of the two shaded graphs. That is the answer to a systems problem. A systems of inequalities is when you have two lines and you're shading them and you're looking for where does the shading overlap on top of itself, and it's right in here, this dark region. That's the answer to our system. And that's what we're going to learn to do today, you guys. So grab a pencil. Let's try a problem now. Alright guys, so here is the problem we're going to try today in our notes. We'll call it example 1. We're going to graph two inequalities. Y is less than or equal to -2x plus 4, and y is greater than x minus 2. And we're going to put both of those graphs on the same graph together. So I've already created my xy axis. I've set it up. Both of these are going to land on this one graph. So you may need to pause the video right now to set yours up and kind of get yourself organized. Some things I'm going to make sure I have today is I'm going to make sure I have a ruler so that I can graph nicely with a ruler. I'm also going to have a handful of colored pencils because I'm going to be doing some coloring and some shading. So you just need a couple colors that work for you. It doesn't matter what colors you choose. And maybe a good eraser because we might be doing a little bit of erasing too. I like to work in pencil because these graphs take a lot of light markings and erasing and kind of adjusting as you go. So, like I said, pause the video if you need me to, and we are going to jump right into this. So we are going to start with the first graph. Y is less than or equal to -2x plus 4. Now, we see the mx plus b, so we know that this first graph starts at plus 4. That's the y-intercept right there, so I'm going to put a dot at 4. I also see a -2 slope, so I'm going to be working down 2 and over 1. So I'm going to go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, and I can do this for a while until I feel like stopping. And if I lay my pencil down, you can see the line is right there. And what we're going to be doing is testing and shading some points on that line. So what I plan to do is take my ruler, and I'm going to connect my dots, but just with this really light pencil line. I'm not planning on making it dark yet until I figure out if it's going to be dotted or solid. So I'm just going to make a light pencil mark that goes through it. Hopefully you can kind of see it there. And we're going to run some tests. So let's write tests. We are going to be testing the left, the right, and the line itself. So I plan to give myself some space here. The left, the right, and then the actual line itself. And I get to pick those points. So again, maybe I should put my pencil here. The left side would be anything over here. So what point do I like? I mean, I could pick anything I want, but what's the really easy point that I like to choose? 0, 0. That's so simple. So I'm going to test 0, 0. And then I'm going to have to pick something on the right. Truly, it doesn't really matter. Maybe 5, I don't know, maybe 5, 5 even. 4, 5, right there, 5, 5. Sure, why not? That can be my right side, 5, 5. And then on the line itself, so on this pencil, let's see, move the pencil. I could pick anything. So maybe, let's just test 1, 2. 1, 2. And then I'm going to organize my work into my 3 tests, just like this. And we'll be able to fly pretty quickly through this because in previous video lessons, we've done this before. This isn't brand new knowledge to us. So we are testing the y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 4. And we're going to test that on all of these. Y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 4. Y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 4. And we'll plug in our points for each of these and we'll see which ones pass. Okay, so I'm going to be pretty quick about this. I'm going to put in my 0, 0. So 0 is less than or equal to negative 2 times 0 plus 4. That means 0 is less than or equal to 4. I'm going to put in 5, 5. So 5 is less than or equal to negative 2 times 5 plus 4. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10 plus 4. And negative 10 plus 4 is negative 6. So I have 5 is less than or equal to negative 6. And then for 1, 2, let's see, that's your x and y. So y would be 2 and x would be 1. Like I said, I'm kind of going fast on this. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, plus 4 would be positive 2. So 2 is less than or equal to 2. Done. We got our math done. So now we have to go through and decide which ones pass, which ones fail. So is 0 less than or equal to 4? Of course 0 is less than 4. Totally. This is definitely a pass. 0 has to be less than 4. Is 5 less than or equal to negative 6? How can 5 be less than a negative 6? That doesn't make any sense. So I'll cross that one out. That's a fail. And is 2 less than or equal to 2? Well, it's not less than 2, but it is equal, and we do have an equal sign. So this is a pass. So we have pass, fail, pass. So now what we get to do is we get to go work on our graph here a little bit. So here's my line. I'll put my pencil there so I can see it. The left side at 0, 0, which is right here, passed, so that's good. But the right side at 5, 5, this one failed. So I'm going to grab a colored pencil, and I'm going to use this yellow colored pencil, and I'm going to start shading really lightly. I'm not going to go dark on this. The left side, the side that passed, I'm going to start shading it with my yellow pencil, making it super light. I don't want to go too dark because if I go too dark, it's going to be hard to see the next step. So just kind of lightly going through. The other thing I know is the line itself passed also. So we know the line is solid, it's not dotted. So I can take my ruler at this point and I can take my pen and I can comfortably darken that into a dark solid line. I know that for a fact is true, so I'm going to do that. And then that one's done. I'm going to write the equation next to the arrow up here. This is y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 4, and we're ready to go on to the next line. Cool. Okay, so let's move on to the next line. Y is greater than x minus 2. X minus 2 means I'm starting at minus 2. I'm starting at negative 2 for my y-intercept. And my slope for this line, it's like a 1x. I have a slope of 1. So I'm going up 1 and over 1. 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 I'm kind of just repeating this quite a bit here to make my line. And it's kind of the same story. I'm going to take my ruler and connect my next line here, but really lightly with my pencil until my tests are done. So just a light pencil line right there. And I'm gonna lay that right there so I can see it. So here's the part that's kind of hard for people. Pretend you cannot see the background. The line that we did before in the shading, you have to pretend none of it's there. This line right here is the line I'm focused on. There's a left side, there's a right side, or a top and a bottom. I'm going to focus on those two sides, which one gets shaded. So now I have to set up all new tests for this line, this specific line right here, ignoring the background completely. Okay, so let's run our test here. So I'm going to write down below tests, and I'm going to look at the left, the right, and the line. The left, the right, and the line again. But this time focusing on this line that's right here. So for the left side, I'm talking about everything up above. Now, I could pick anything I want that's up here. I'm thinking 0, 0 again because that's an easy point on the left. So I'm going to test 0, 0. On the right-hand side, it's down below down here. I'm going to test anything I want that's over here. So like I could do like, how about 5, -2? Sure, right there. So that'll be my right side at 5, -2. And then on my line, so if I move my pencil here, I can pick any of these dots really, so anything works. Maybe, how about this 1, -1 that's right there? That's right on the line. So 1, -1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up by just organizing my work, creating this table, kind of like this, and then kind of quickly going through just like we did earlier and testing these points. But now I'm testing it on y is greater than x minus 2. So y is greater than x minus 2, y is greater than x minus 2. And I'm going to test all 3 of those to see if they actually do indeed. So let's put in 0, 0, which will be easy. 0 is greater than 0 minus 2, so 0 is greater than minus 2. We'll put in 5, -2. 5 is the x, y is the -2, so -2 is greater than 5. Take away 2. 5 minus 2 is 3, so -2 is greater than 3. And then the last one is 1, -1, x and y here. So x is 1, y is -1. So -1 is greater than 1 minus 2. 1 minus 2 is -1. So -1 is greater than -1. Cool. All right, so now that I kind of flew through that step, I just have to figure out which of these counts as a pass, which of these counts as a fail. So let's look closely at these. So is 0 greater than a -2? Yeah, 0 is greater than a negative number, so that passes. That's a pass. Is -2 greater than a +3? No, no. -2 is definitely not greater than a +3, so that is a fail. That doesn't make sense. Is -1 greater than a -1? No, it's not greater. It's equal, and there's no equal sign. So here is another fail. This is not true also. I'll slash out that sign. So we have pass, and then we have fail, fail this time. So the only thing that passed was 0, 0. So now go back up to our line here. Remember, we're looking at this line where the pencil is. 0, 0 passed, and 5, -2 failed. I'll cross it out. So I'm going to grab a second colored pencil, different color this time, and now I'm going to be coloring everything that's on the side of 0, 0, on this left side where it passed. So I'm kind of going like this direction, all the way up and down, ignoring the background completely. But as I color, here I'll move this for a minute, you can't help but notice where you're coloring twice, where the overlap is starting to occur. Now I'm having yellow and blue colored pencil all land basically in this section. This is where I'm going to start. I'm going to grab a darker pencil and just start darkening this in. This is my dark shaded region. This is my overlap region. And I've seen a lot of people do this. They'll use an eraser, and what they'll do is after they're done coloring everything in, they'll start going in and erasing all their background color, because the solution to our problem is where is the dark region. So this is the solution right here. This other stuff is extra light background. So if you want to go in and erase it, a lot of people like to do that. Now I'm not 100% done. I do have one more thing I need to do. The line itself, this line that we graphed, failed. It did not pass in our test. So I need to go through and make this a more distinct dotted line, because it needs to look dotted like that. And then I'll draw my arrows. And I think down in the bottom corner down here, I'm going to make sure to label it. This was the y is greater than x minus 2. And we're done. We've got our solution. So this is the idea with these systems problems. What we're going to be doing is still testing points, still shading left and right, but now we're looking for dark overlap. Where are the two lines overlapping their shading? And so the solution for this system is not the point of intersect, it's the point of overlap. So there's a lot more to it with a system of inequalities. And again, this is what we want to do for our evidence, for our work, is we want to make these tables. We want to show testing our points. It shows whoever reads our paper that we really know what we're doing and we understand this problem. And then our solution is that dark space. So that kind of wraps up this video. We'll practice in class a bunch more, and I hope you guys were able to follow along, and hopefully it made sense. Thanks, guys. See you soon. Bye.